The train screeched to a halt, its iron wheels groaning like tired bones. Dust swirled across the barren platform of Willow Creek Station, a lonely outpost where the prairie wind sang mournful tunes. Clara Whitfield stepped down with a small carpet bag and a hopeful heart. She had left behind everything: her family back east, her teaching job, and her dignity as a spinster of 28, to answer an advertisement for a mail-order bride. Her intended, a rancher named Mr. Barrow, was supposed to meet her with open arms. She imagined a sturdy man, a warm home, perhaps even children who would run laughing through fields. But as the train hissed and pulled away, the platform emptied. No man came. Only the surly station master leaned against a post, chewing tobacco and spitting in the dust. "Any man comin' for you?" he asked, his voice full of mockery. Clara's stomach knotted. She clutched her bag tighter, lifting her chin with the last of her pride. "He'll come," she said, though even as the words left her mouth, she doubted them. Hours passed. The sun sank low, and with it, Clara's hope. She hadn't eaten since dawn, and the gnawing hunger inside her grew unbearable. By nightfall, she was not only abandoned but starving, with no place to go and no coin in her purse. Shadows stretched long. Clara sat on the platform bench, her hands trembling. That's when she heard it. A soft, timid voice. Can you read me a story?" Startled, Clara looked down. A little girl stood before her, no older than 7, with tangled hair the color of wheat and wide brown eyes that glistened with both curiosity and sorrow. She clutched a tattered book with half its pages missing. I like stories," the girl whispered, almost apologetic. "Mama used to read before she went to heaven." Clara's heart ached. The girl's dress was threadbare, her shoes full of holes. Hunger showed in her hollow cheeks. Clara hesitated, then reached out gently. "What's your name, darling?" "Annie." "Well, Annie," Clara said softly, "I'd be honored." She opened the broken book and began reading, her voice trembling but warm. The story was nothing more than half a fable, yet Annie listened as if it were the grandest tale ever told. When Clara finished, Annie leaned against her side, whispering, "You read like Mama. Don't leave me." The words pierced Clara deeper than any rejection. In that moment she knew her fate had changed. Clara soon learned Annie's story. The girl's parents had perished the winter before. Her father from a fever, her mother from childbirth gone wrong. Annie had been left in the care of the station master and his bitter wife, people who saw her as nothing more than another mouth to feed. The station master barked at Annie, treating her like a servant. She carried water, swept floors, and slept on a cot in the storeroom. Clara's heart boiled with quiet rage each time she saw the man sneer at her. "Girl's a nuisance," he grumbled. "If someone don't take her, she'll be worm food soon enough." Annie clung to Clara as if sensing safety. That night, under the leaking roof of the station, they huddled together for warmth. Clara shared the last crust of bread she had carried in her bag. Hunger twisted her insides, but watching Annie nibble with a grateful smile eased her suffering. Stories became their refuge. By candlelight, Clara read aloud from Annie's broken book. The child's face lit up, her worries forgotten for those moments. For Clara, each word was a vow. She would not let this child be swallowed by the cruelty of the world. The following days tested them. Clara had no money for food, and Annie was fed scraps when the station master remembered. Together they scavenged wild berries near the tracks, sharing them as if they were a banquet. One evening, Annie asked, "Why did no one come for you?" Clara's throat tightened. "Sometimes people make promises they don't keep." Then, "Will you leave too?" Clara pulled her close, her voice fierce. "No, I'll never leave you, Annie, not ever." That night, as Annie drifted into sleep against her shoulder, Clara realized her purpose had shifted. She was no longer just a bride waiting for a husband. She was a guardian, a protector, perhaps even a mother. Hunger had bound them together, but love was taking root. Word spread through town. The mail-order bride had been abandoned. Some mocked her, calling her unwanted. Others whispered that she must have been too plain for her fiancé to bother. Clara endured the gossip, walking with her chin high, Annie's small hand gripping hers, but deep inside, she wrestled with her choice. Should she leave on the next train, tail between her legs? Or should she carve out a place here, even with no husband to shield her? One morning, the station master snarled, "Train leaves tomorrow. You best be on it." Clara looked him in the eye. "No, I'm staying." Her voice surprised even herself. She might not have a husband or fortune, but she had Annie, and perhaps in protecting the girl she would find her true destiny. Life in Willow Creek was unkind to outsiders. Clara struggled to earn respect. Some women pitied her, others sneered. Men offered crude proposals, seeing only desperation. But when she walked through town with Annie clutching her skirts, people noticed her differently, not as a lost bride, but as a woman with quiet strength. She took to teaching Annie letters, on the station porch using scraps of paper. Soon, other children gathered eager to learn. Clara's voice carried with the rhythm of a natural teacher, and slowly the townsfolk began to soften toward her. Still, loneliness crept into her heart at night. She wondered if she had condemned herself to a life of struggle. Yet every time, Annie whispered, "Can you read me another story?" Clara knew she had chosen rightly. Peace shattered when a gang of outlaws thundered into town. Dust rose beneath their horses' hooves as they swaggered into the saloon, guns at their hips, laughter sharp as knives. Fear spread like wildfire. That night, Clara overheard the station master plotting with the drunken gang. He planned to sell Annie for coin, claiming she was nothing but a burden. Clara's blood ran cold. She snatched Annie from the storeroom, clutching her to her chest. "You're safe with me," she whispered. Hiding in the dark, Clara's resolve hardened. She would fight, beg, or bleed before she let Annie fall into their hands. It was then that Elias Carter stepped into their lives. A tall, broad-shouldered rancher, Elias was known for his solitude. He had buried his wife years before and kept mostly to himself, but he had noticed Clara's quiet courage, how she shielded Annie like a lioness. When he found them hiding in the barn, Clara raised a pitchfork in defiance. Elias lifted his hands, his deep voice calm. "Easy, ma'am. I'm not here to harm you. The station master's dealings, I won't allow it." He brought them to his ranch, offering bread and shelter. Annie ate until she nearly burst, then fell asleep by the fire. Clara, weakened by hunger, wept silently. Elias sat across from her, his eyes full of unspoken understanding. Though he offered no promises, there was safety in his presence. The outlaws returned, demanding money from Elias. When he refused, they threatened to take Annie instead. Guns were drawn, and chaos erupted on the Carter ranch. Elias fought with grim determination, exchanging bullets with the gang. Clara, unarmed, grabbed a lantern and hurled it to distract one outlaw, giving Elias a clean shot. But another thug lunged for Annie. Clara threw herself between them, clawing and striking with all her strength. The fight ended with Elias standing tall, the gang scattered or slain. Clara collapsed, shaking, but Annie clung to her, whispering, "You saved me." When dawn broke, Clara stood on the porch of Elias's ranch, holding Annie's hand. For the first time, she did not feel like a discarded bride or a stranger. She felt like she belonged. Elias approached, his hat in his hand. "You've got more grit than half the men in this county," he said softly. "This land, it needs folks like you. Annie needs you, and if you'll have it, I reckon I need you too." Tears filled Clara's eyes. She had come west for a husband and found none, but instead she had discovered something greater, love for a child, respect from a good man, and the chance to build a family not bound by blood, but by choice. That evening, as the prairie sky burned with sunset, Annie climbed into Clara's lap with her tattered book. "Can you read me a story?" she asked. Clara smiled, pulling her close. "Yes, darling. Tonight and every night after." The wind carried the sound of her voice across the open plains. Not as a widow, not as an abandoned bride, but as a mother, a teacher, and a woman who had finally found her home.